Hi friends, I am Mohan Amaravati, pursuing my education in Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering. My USN is 1E22 IS032. Today I am going to explain about M3. In that M3 topic is sampling distribution. Let us know one by one about definition, introduction, and about sampling distribution. Briefly explanation. Definition of sampling distribution. A sampling distribution is a probability distribution of a statistic obtained through a large number of samples drawn from a specific population. It provides valuable insights into the behavior of sample statistics and is crucial for making inference about population parameters. Understanding the sampling distribution is essential for statistical analysis and hypothesis testing. It allows researchers and quantify the variability and uncertainty associated with sample statistics and make informed conclusions about the population based on sample data. Importance of sample and distribution in statistics, basis of inference, occurrence assessment, hypothesis testing. The sample and distribution forms the basis for making inferences about the population. It allows researchers to estimate population parameters based on sample statistics and accuracy assessment. It helps to assessing the accuracy of sampling statistics and understanding the potential variability in estimating population. Hypothesis testing, sample and distribution plays a crucial role in hypothesis testing, enabling researchers to determine the significance of their findings. Central limit theorem and its role in sampling distribution is theorem explanation and implicate assumptions. The central limit theorem states the sampling distribution of the sample mean becomes approximately normally distributed as the sample size increases regardless of the distribution of the population. The theorem's application underpins many statistical methods and provides confidence in using sampling statistics to make inference about population. Next is characteristics of sampling distribution centered around population parameter predictive power. Predictive power means it enables researchers to make predictions and draw conclusion about the population based on the sample data, incorporating variability considerations and about the centered around population parameter explains a key characteristics of sampling distribution is that a center is located at the population parameter reflecting unbiased estimation. Types of sampling distribution, normal distribution and t-distribution. For about normal distribution, the most common sampling distribution represents sampling distribution of men under certain conditions. For t-distribution, used when the population standard deviation is unknown and as a behavior tail than the normal distribution. Sampling distribution of a mean is says about the definition is the sampling distribution of the mean represents the distribution of sample means for all the possible random samples for a population. About the central limit theorem application, it closely follows the principle of the central limit theorem and exhibiting an approach towards normal distribution with increasing sample size. Sample distribution of the it says proportion of the representation of 25 percentage and application in binary outcomes is 75 percentage. Sample and distribution of the difference between means of the mean comparison and assumption verification state that illustrate the variability of the difference between sample means obtained from two different populations. Assumption verification is helps in verifying the assumptions required for conducting hypothesis tests and confident interval estimation. Sample and distribution of the differences between proportions. Comparison of a binary outcomes illustrate the distribution of differences between sample proportions from two different populations for binary outcomes. Applications of sampling distribution in hypothesis testing, confident intervals of a hypothesis testing confident intervals enables the assessment of statistical significance and validity of research findings, provides a range of values which the population parameter is like to fall, improving the accuracy of estimation like sampling distribution. Of an introduction says the sampling distribution is a theoretical distribution that represents the possible values of a statistics obtained from different samples of a same population provides insights into a variability and characteristics of statistic. Understanding the sampling distribution is crucial for making inference and drawing the conclusions about a population. Its sampling of a sampling we can take a random sample of a given size and from a population with mean mu and standard deviation from sigma. So some sample means will be above the population mean sigma and the mu of the below giving of the sample distribution. Central limit theorem. The central limit theorem states that regardless shape of population distribution, the sampling distribution of the sample mean tends to follow the normal and distribution for large enough sample size. And this theorem is essential because it allows us to make an inference about the population mean based on a sampling means. The central limit theorem is based on the principles of probability theory and statistical theory. Standard error. Standard error means the standard error measures the variability or spread of the sampling distribution. It is the standard definition of a sampling statistics such as the sample mean or sample proportion. The standard error decreases, the sample size increases, indicating the larger samples provide more precise estimates of the population parameters. Like n is equal to the number of the data points and xi says each of the values of the data and x bar says the mean of the xi. So we can see that the of the sampling distribution or standard error. Sample distribution of the mean says histogram of histogram of a exponential population, histogram of a sampling distribution of sample means when n is equal to 5, histogram of sampling distribution of sample mean when n is equal to 15, and histogram of sampling distribution of a sample mean when n is equal to when sampling from a population, the distribution of a sample means tends to be approximately normal regardless of the shape of the population distribution. The mean of the sampling distribution of a mean is equal to the population mean. The standard deviation of a sampling distribution of a mean, also known as the standard error of the mean, decreases the sample size in cases sample distribution of a proportion. When sampling from a population, the distribution of a sample proportions tends to be approximately normal if certain conditions are met. The mean of the sampling distribution of the proportion is equal to the population proportion. The standard deviation of the sampling distribution of a proportion, also known as the standard error of the proportion, is influenced by the sample size and the population proportion. Sample and distribution of a sample mean we take many random samples of a given size n from a population with mean mu and standard deviation sigma, so it can say the making of the sample and distribution. Confidence intervals provide a range of values within which we can reasonably expect the population parameter to lie. The width of the confidence interval is determined by the desired level of a confidence and the standard error of a statistic. Larger sample size of a higher levels of confidence result in a wider confidence intervals. So we can say the probability density and sample 1, 2, 3, 4, and up to the n of the confidence of intervals, different samples, sampling distribution for sampling mean. Hypothesis testing. Sampling distributions are fundamental to hypothesis testing. Hypothesis testing involves a comparing sample statistics to a population parameter to determine if there is significance of difference. By comparing the by comparing the by comparing the sampling statistics to the distribution of a statistic under the null hypothesis, we can assess whether the observed result is statistically significant. Importance of sample size. Sample size plays the crucial role in accuracy and precision of a sampling distribution. Advocate a sample size is necessary to ensure valid statistical inference. So, last about conclusion, the sampling distribution is a key concept in statistics that allows us to make an inference and draw conclusions about population based on the samples. Understanding the central limit theorem, standard error, and the characteristics of sampling distribution is essential for conducting reliable statistics analysis of the assessing the occurrence of this. So this is about the sampling distribution.